Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to our advanced screenwriting class here at StoryForge Academy. Today, we are stepping into one of the most exciting and essential parts of screenwriting, the art of turning a raw idea into a powerful logline. In this session, you'll learn how to distill Rubin's haunting story into one clean, compelling sentence. Explore 3 different approaches: character-driven, concept-driven, and theme-driven loglines. Practice transforming vague sparks into the structural Dan of a screenplay. By the end of today's class, you'll not only understand what a logline is, but you'll also have drafted several of your own, rooted in Rubin's nightmare. These will become your compass, the sentence that guides your entire script. Before we dive in, a quick reminder. If you find these lessons valuable, make sure to hit subscribe to the channel, and tap the notification bell so you don't miss the upcoming sessions where we'll continue building your screenplay step by step. All right, let's get started. Roland, seemingly unfazed by Rubin's skepticism, merely pulled out his phone. A quick call, and a short while later, 2 elderly Turkish men entered the office, accompanied by a translator. Their faces were weathered, etched with the lines of countless suns and ancient wisdom. Their eyes held a deep, almost mystical knowledge. "These gentlemen," Roland announced, gesturing towards them, "can assist us with the excavation. They are from the region where our treasure is believed to be hidden." The elder Turks, through their translator, spoke in hushed, serious tones, their voices raspy with age. "We can guide you to the site, and we can help with the digging." The translator relayed their words, his own expression turning solemn. "But you must understand the dangers that surround it. The land holds old spirits." Then the true dread entered the room, palpable and chilling. "There is also an owl woman," the translator conveyed, his voice now slightly strained, as if the words themselves carried a supernatural weight. "She dwells in a ruined castle, near the ancient graveyard that surrounds the treasure. Her skin is like withered parchment, drawn taut over sharp bones, and her eyes are larger than any human's, black and bottomless, filled with an ancient, burning malevolence." At this point, Maria, sensing the growing unease in the room, quickly interjected with a dismissive wave of her hand. "Oh, these are just local legends. Old wives' tales to keep people away from certain places. Every ancient site has them." She offered a confident, almost condescending smile, attempting to lighten the atmosphere. But one of the elderly Turks, his gaze fixed and unyielding, leaned forward slightly. "No, young woman," the translator relayed his firm words. "This is no mere legend. For the past 20 years, the owl has been sighted at least every few months. For everyone in that region, her existence is a stark, undeniable truth." The other elder, his eyes widening with intensity, added through the translator, "Several people have seen her up close. The terror was so immense that they fell gravely ill, suffering violent convulsions. They became sick from sheer horror." The first elder, now with a strange excitement in his voice, continued, "She always wears a venomous snake around her neck, and she is always accompanied by several wild wolves, massive in size, who show absolutely no fear of humans." The second elder chimed in, "For 20 years, a profound dread has gripped the village whenever the owl prowled at night. Before her arrival, the dogs would howl uncontrollably and flee the village in terror. Then a chilling silence would fall over the village, and hearing the wolves' howls meant the owl had arrived. People, in order to avoid harm," the first elder explained, "would leave bread, dates, and various offerings behind their house doors. The owl would come and take them. Some who dared to look," the other elder added, a flicker of dark memory in his eyes, would secretly glimpse her through cracks or from behind their curtains. Always she would walk through the town with those massive wolves. One night, the first elder recounted, his voice dropping to a hushed whisper, "When the owl came to the village, one of the villagers accidentally came face to face with her. The man collapsed on the spot, suffering a fatal heart attack. The forensic doctor, the second elder concluded grimly, stated his death was from extreme fright, and after that man's burial, the All never came to the village again. But the people still leave offerings for their dead in the graveyard, and at night, the Owl comes and takes them. As the translator finished, describing the Owl woman with such vivid and horrifying detail, a wave of profound terror washed over Rubin. His breath hitched, caught in his throat. The images from his recurring nightmares, the withered, grotesque face, the enormous, hateful eyes, the suffocating dread of the narrow corridor, and most chillingly, the iron claw, white-hot and searing, not only flashed before his mind's eye, they exploded into vivid, undeniable clarity. He now understood that this claw was what had branded his dreams, and he now understood had left its faint, physical signature on his hands. A cold, stark realization dawned on him. The Owl woman they were describing was the very same terrifying old woman who had haunted his dreams since birth. It wasn't just a coincidence. It was a horrifying confirmation. His nightmares weren't mere figments of a troubled mind, but a prescient premonition, a fragmented memory of a living, terrifying entity. The air in the room seemed to thicken, charged with an unseen weight, a heavy silence falling as the gravitas of the elder's words settled. Some of the other employees shifted uncomfortably, a few exchanging nervous glances, clearly dismissing it as local superstition. But for Rubin, it was a profound, earth-shattering revelation. He felt a deep, chilling connection, an undeniable, magnetic pull towards this hidden danger. Istanbul. The grand design unfolds. In the heart of Istanbul, within a lavish hotel, Rubin, along with Roland, Maria, and their 5 other companions, gathered around a sumptuous dinner spread. Amidst the restaurant's lively hum, the clinking of forks and knives mingled with their quiet murmurs. Roland, his voice soft but firm, laid out a plan that stirred a potent blend of excitement and apprehension in all of them. "Rubin and Maria," Roland began, his gaze sweeping over them, "the 2 of you will enter the village as nature-loving tourists, seeking tranquility. This village will bring us closer to the ruined castle. After arriving and exploring a bit, you are to incidentally encounter the 2 elderly men you've already met. Accept their hospitality and stay in their home. For 48 hours, you are to explore every hidden corner of the village, familiarize yourselves intimately with the roads and paths, and seize every fleeting opportunity to gather vital information. At nightfall, we will arrive at the village and proceed towards the castle." Maria's eyes sparkled with eagerness, but Rubin felt a sharp pang of hesitation. An unknown village, strange old men, and a ruined castle, all of it echoed too strongly of his nightly terrors. Yet, for the sake of the grand adventure that lay ahead, he decided to place his trust in Roland. In that moment, beneath the hotel's gilded ceiling, a plan was laid out that would forever alter their destinies. A serene village nestled in nature, the hiding place of a legendary treasure, and a secret that had awaited its unveiling for years. Could they emerge victorious from this daunting test and achieve their goal? First steps into the ancient village. Rubin and Maria, like 2 birds newly freed from their gilded cage, stepped into a village that seemed to have emerged directly from the heart of history. Narrow, winding alleys, mud brick houses with faded wooden doors, and ancient, towering trees that looked as if they had cast their shadows over this village for centuries, transported them to another world, a realm untouched by modernity. With every step, Rubin felt a strange, unsettling sensation. It was as if he had been here before, as if the old mosque and the ancient trees were strangely, disturbingly familiar. "I can't believe I've been here," he whispered aloud, a powerful sense of déjà vu washing over him. Meanwhile, the villagers greeted them with open arms and genuine warmth. To Rubin's astonishment, he realized he could understand their words with uncanny ease, as if the Turkish language was instinctively rooted deep within him. This strange phenomenon plunged him deeper into wonder, a bewildering revelation. After wandering through the village for a while, They accidentally encountered the two old men from the meeting. The elders, with smiling faces etched with kindness, invited them to be their guests. Rubin and Maria, after enjoying a delicious lunch, set out to identify the village's paths and routes, meticulously mapping their surroundings. During their exploration, Rubin suddenly came face to face with a young woman. Their eyes locked, and for a moment, time stood utterly still. Rubin felt as though he had known this girl for hundreds of years, as if she were a part of his very being. Maria, noticing Rubin's strange, captivated state, called out to him with concern. "Rubin, snap out of it. Think of Anna. We came for treasure, not for love and romance." Rubin, still lost in the eddying currents of his thoughts, offered no reply. They continued to survey all the routes together and then contacted Roland to assure him of their status, reporting their initial findings. Reconnaissance and the village's secrets. Rubin heard Maria's words, but they vanished into the clamor of his own mind. His entire being was captivated by the girl's familiar, haunting eyes. Her face, not with the clear lines of the old woman from his nightmares, but with the same strange sense of deep-rooted familiarity, made his heart pound with an unforeseen intensity. Was this also part of his lost memories? Did this profound feeling of home that had taken root within him come from here? He mused that this village, with its familiar alleys and ancient whispering trees, was more than just a business destination. This was the unsettling intersection of his nightmares with stark reality, and perhaps even the long-buried root of his own identity. With these thoughts swirling, Rubin tried to focus on the mission. He and Maria, playing the part of curious, observant tourists, entered every alley, remotely surveyed every abandoned house, and seemingly enjoyed the village's old architecture. But their gazes were sharpened, searching for potential escape routes, hidden observation points, and subtle security weaknesses. Maria meticulously matched the mental map in her mind with the actual paths. She pointed towards the high, ruined walls of the castle in the distance and said, "The main path to the castle runs along this dirt road, but we can also use these shortcuts and hills for better cover if necessary." Rubin nodded. He walked towards the old village mosque, a mosque with low ancient minarets and weathered bricks. The feeling of familiarity reached its crescendo there. He entered the mosque's courtyard, touched the old cool flagstones, and murmured words under his breath that he didn't know where they came from. The same Turkish words he instinctively understood. It seemed this language was not just comprehensible, but strangely, intrinsically natural to him, as if it had been dormant for years and was now reawakening, blooming within his consciousness. Throughout the day, they examined all the village entrances, estimated the number of households, and meticulously observed the residents' movements. Rubin noticed that the older part of the village, leaning towards the hills and the castle, was almost deserted, with most of its houses in ruins. This area, he concluded, could serve as the best, most discreet entry point for the team at night. He glanced at his hands. The faint burn marks, now more than ever, were unsettling testimony to the tangible reality of his nightmares. Here, in this remote village, not only was a hidden treasure waiting, but also the long-lost pieces of his own life's enigmatic puzzle. A shared secret in the night. That night, the small home of the elder was filled with the delightful, comforting aroma of local dishes. Rubin and Maria sat beside a simple wooden table adorned with a floral tablecloth. Just as they were enjoying their dinner, the room door opened, and a young woman with large, expressive eyes and advanced screenwriting class, analyzing the deepening conflict in Rubin's nightmare, part the thread. Good morning. In this final segment of our text analysis, we witness a crucial phase of the narrative, the deepening of the supernatural, threat, and the intensive flashback. that reveals the protagonist's core dilemma and competence. The structure here is dual: confrontation in the present, followed by a lengthy expositional flashback that justifies the character's current situation. Part 1. Intensification of the supernatural threat, a shared secret in the night. The village girl, the voice of warning. The unexpected appearance of the young woman at dinner serves to reintroduce and confirm the supernatural threat, established by the elders, but with a more immediate personal touch. Confirmation of reality. The girl joining the group is a credible witness for Rubin. She is young, articulate, speaking fluent English, and provides a detailed account that moves the Al-Jinn from local legend, Maria's dismissal, to verifiable, terrifying reality, visualizing the horror. Her description of the shepherd's encounter is critical for a screenplay. It provides a terrifying sequence. Omen, dogs barking in terror, scattering. Sound design foreshadowing. Antagonist's companions, massive wolves, trained and formidable. VFX stunt coordination. The confrontation. The all emerging and wanting to speak face to face, causing immediate fatal heart failure. This emphasizes the creature's supernatural power. It kills through pure, raw terror. Rubin's reaction. Rubin's face went pale, and his feeling that his nightmares had transformed into grim reality is the emotional crescendo of this scene. This moment locks in his internal commitment. He must face the Al woman, as she is the direct source of his lifelong trauma. The fear isn't just about the mission, it's about his life's oldest mystery. Screenwriting. Takeaway. This scene functions as the herald's warning just before the hero fully commits to the descent into the special world, the castle. It raises the stakes from illegal dig to potential death by supernatural horror. Part 2. The flashback. Pakistan and the diamond, a shadow from the past. This is a long, deliberate flashback sequence, functioning as a complete backstory arc that explains why Rubin is in his current predicament and why he accepted the dangerous Turkey mission. The hook, Anna and the diamond. The sequence uses the diamond as a powerful MacGuffin and a symbol of Rubin's love and his fatal flaw. Emotional motivation. Rubin's desire to buy the $50,000 Euro diamond for a pregnant. Anna provides the core emotional justification for his actions. He's not greedy for himself. He's acting out of love and paternal aspiration. This makes the audience sympathetic to his flawed decision. The Faustian bargain. The phone call to Salvador, done right in front of the object of desire, is a brilliant moment of commitment escalation. The instant transfer of funds seals the deal. I became irrevocably committed to Roland until the end of that trip. This establishes a clear, quantifiable debt, financial and ethical, that motivates his risky behavior. The team and the expertise, preparations for the trip. The introduction of Dr. Allison, White and Victor sets up the expectation of a professional operation, which is then immediately subverted. Dr. White. She is introduced as the professional expert, poised, elegant demeanor, renowned for her groundbreaking research. Her presence provides a necessary level of credibility to Roland's operation. Her inability to resist the Achaemenid mummy highlights the irresistible temptation of the antique world, paralleling Rubin's temptation with the diamond. The journey. The long and exhausting travel and the underlying current of tension use setting and mood to build atmospheric tension leading up to the ambush. The subversion. Poisoning at the hotel, plot twist. The poisoning is the major plot point of the flashback, fundamentally changing the nature of the Pakistan mission. Narrative function. The poisoning removes the two expert characters, Dr. White and Victor, leaving Rubin isolated and unprepared. This is a common thriller trope that heightens the danger. Antagonist's foresight. The motivation, they knew very well that the presence of a mummy specialist would ruin their plan to sell a fake mummy, establishes the intelligence and ruthless efficiency of the Pakistani intermediaries. The aftermath. The temporary debilitating nature of the poison is crucial. It incapacitates them without killing them, creating an emergency situation without an investigation. The forced role. Rubin's unwilling new role. Roland's final demand confirms Rubin's inescapable trap. The forced transformation. Roland forces Rubin, the confidant and protector, into the role of the acting expert witness. His panic, me? But I have no expertise in mummies, underscores the severity of the challenge. The new mission. Roland's explanation clarifies the actual task. Rubin doesn't need to authenticate. He just needs to be a live, trusted witness for the sample collection. This reduces the risk slightly, but not the overall danger. Consequence. The final somber reflection. And that's how, for that diamond I found myself in an unimaginable bind, ties the entire flashback back to the original fatal bargain. Conclusion. Present dilemma and future conflict. The transition between the chilling, supernatural stories in Turkey and the high-stakes illegal mission in Pakistan serves a unified goal: to show Rubin's capacity for survival and self-sacrifice. He is a man driven by love, the diamond, into professional peril, Pakistan, and that experience now equips him to face the greatest peril of his life, the all-woman and his buried past. The story is expertly using past action to justify present capability. This section of the story, Rubin and Maria in the Turkish village, the chilling details about the all-woman, and Rubin's flashback to the Pakistan mission, is incredibly rich for our next lesson. It establishes the stakes for two major plot lines, making it perfect for understanding the concept of the logline. Session 3. Idea and the logline. In our previous sessions, we focused on the physical format and the visual language of the screenplay. Now, we turn our attention to the core concept, the single, most important element that sells your script, the logline. Every great screenplay starts with a great, concise idea. The logline is the tool we use to prove our idea is compelling and marketable. 1. Turning a raw idea into the screenplay's core. A raw idea is simply a concept or a general notion. Raw idea. A man has bad nightmares about an old witch. Raw idea. A guy takes a dangerous trip for his wife. While intriguing, these ideas lack the conflict, stakes, and irony required for a marketable film. The job of the screenwriter is to distill all the action, character, and theme into a single, explosive sentence that captures the essence of the entire movie. You must identify the protagonist. Who is the main character? Rubin, the troubled martial artist and antiquities expert. The inciting incident. What event kicks off the main action? A company meeting reveals a dangerous illegal excavation trip in Turkey. The central conflict main goal. What does the protagonist want or have to overcome? He must find a treasure and face the truth of his terrifying, recurring nightmares. The stakes, irony. What happens if the protagonist fails? And what is the crucial twist? Failure means losing his safety and facing a nightmare figure that is revealed to be real and tied to his own identity. The story of Rubin actually contains two major core ideas that could become separate movies, or two major plots in a single feature. Plot A, internal identity. The Turkish village, all-woman mystery. Plot B, external thriller. The Pakistan mission flashback. 2. Writing the logline, the one-sentence summary. Logline is a 25 to 50-word summary that tells the story's major plot, stakes and irony. It should answer the question, who, doing what, why, and what happens if they fail. A strong logline structure often looks like this. A protagonist must goal conflict when inciting incident opposing force, which forces him to crucial action before stakes ticking clock. Let's apply this to plot A, the Turkish village Al woman. We can see the elements clearly defined in the text. Protagonist, Rubin, a man plagued by lifelong nightmares and scarred hands. Conflict. He is forced to join an illegal antiquities hunt in a remote Turkish village, inciting incident. He realizes the terrifying hag from his nightmares. The Al woman is a real, deadly entity guarding the treasure. Stakes. He must survive the lethal entity and solve the mystery of his own traumatic past and forgotten identity, now reawakening, blooming within his consciousness. Draft logline for plot A. Haunted by lifelong nightmares of a witch's iron claw, an antiquities expert travels to a remote Turkish village for a hidden treasure, only to discover the horrifying hag is a real, deadly entity guarding the prize, forcing him to confront the forgotten truth of his own identity. Let's apply this to plot B, the Pakistan mission, the flashback plot. This plot is a classic high-stakes thriller. Protagonist, Rubin, a martial artist desperately trying to buy a diamond for his pregnant wife. Conflict. He is forced into an illegal mission to authenticate an Achaemenid mummy. Inciting incident. His expert partners are poisoned and incapacitated in a border town. Stakes irony. Now alone and unqualified, he must cross a hostile border and complete the deadly collection mission to pay for the diamond, risking his life and freedom for a material symbol of his love. Draft logline for plot B. To buy his pregnant wife a €50,000 diamond, a security expert agrees to an illegal mission to authenticate an ancient mummy in Pakistan, but when his partners are poisoned, he must go alone into the hostile borderlands, risking jail and death to complete a mission he's completely unqualified for. Practice. Designing 3 loglines. Your task is to practice the art of distillation. Using the logline structure we discussed, you will design 3 different loglines based on the entire story we have read so far. Logline 1. The horror mystery logline. Focus only on the Al woman, the village, and the burn marks. Make the supernatural element the core conflict. Logline 2. The thriller heist logline. Focus on the job, the dangerous journey to Turkey, the castle, and the high stakes of getting the treasure. Combining the job and the alley, woman as an obstacle. Logline 3. The identity emotional logline. Focus on Rubin's internal struggle, the familiar girl, and the reawakening of his forgotten Turkish language and identity, with the external mission serving as the catalyst. We will share these 3 loglines next session to see how different narrative focuses can generate distinct movie concepts, even from the same source material. Session 3. Idea and logline, turning raw. Sparks into the beating heart of a screenplay. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to our screenwriting workshop. In our last sessions, we spoke about the foundations of storytelling and the rule of show, don't tell. Today, we're going to focus on the very seed from which every screenplay grows, the idea, and more importantly, how to distill that idea into a logline, a single line that captures the essence of your story. This session will serve as both a practical workshop and a philosophical exploration. We'll not only dissect what makes a logline effective, but also explore the process of turning raw sparks of Imagination into the structural DNA of a film. Part 1. The nature of ideas in screenwriting. Every screenplay begins with an idea, but idea is a slippery word. You might imagine a flash of inspiration, a scene that appears in your head, a character with a distinct voice, or even just a mood or question that lingers in your mind. Let's clarify. In film, an idea is not yet a story. An idea is a starting point, an impulse. Examples of raw ideas. A man wakes up every day with no memory of the day before. A lonely robot discovers a plant growing on a desolate earth. A mother realizes her child can speak to ghosts. Notice how none of these is yet a fully formed story. They are simply entry points, little sparks. Left alone, sparks die. But fed with oxygen, they can ignite a fire. The screenwriter's job is to transform an idea into a story with conflict, characters, stakes, and resolution. And the very first step in that transformation is the logline. Part 2. What is a logline? A logline is the one-sentence summary of your story. It communicates the central character, the conflict, and the stakes. It is not a tagline, the catchy phrase used in marketing. And it is not a vague description. It is the beating heart of your narrative boiled down to its essence. Why is the logline so important? 1. Clarity. If you can't summarize your story in one line, chances are the story is not yet clear in your own mind. 2. Industry standard. Producers, agents, and executives live on loglines. Before they read your script, they read the logline. It's your first and often only chance to grab their attention. 3. Guiding star. A logline keeps you on track during the long writing process. When you're lost in subplots and secondary characters, the logline pulls you back to the story's core. Part 3. Anatomy of a strong logline. A logline is typically one sentence between 25-40 words. It should include 1. Protagonist. Who is the story about? Not just a name. What makes them unique or compelling? 2. Goal. What does the protagonist want or need? 3. Obstacle or conflict. What stands in their way? Conflict is the engine of drama. 4. Stakes. Why does it matter? What's at risk if they fail? Here's a useful formula. When inciting incident happens, protagonist must goal before stakes, obstacle. Let's test this with some famous examples. Jaws 1975. When a killer shark unleashes chaos on a beach community, a police chief, a marine biologist, and a grizzled fisherman must hunt it down before it kills again. The Matrix, 1999. A computer hacker learns the world is a simulation and joins a rebellion to free humanity from its machine. Overlords. Finding Nemo, 2003. After his son is captured in the Great Barrier Reef, a timid clownfish must journey across the ocean to rescue him. Each of these is clear, concise, and dramatic. Part 4. Common mistakes in writing loglines. 1. Too vague. A man faces challenges in life. That tells us nothing. 2. Too detailed. In 1983, in a small Texas town, a lonely farmer named Bob who has 3 dogs and a passion for chess. Too much. We don't need every detail, just the essentials. 3. No conflict. A young woman travels to Paris. That's a travel plan, not a story. 4. No stakes. A boy tries to win a spelling bee. Okay. But why does it matter? What happens if he loses? The best loglines strike a balance between specificity and brevity. Part V. From idea to logline. Let's walk through the process of turning a raw idea into a workable logline. Example 1. Raw idea. A scientist clones a dinosaur. Step 1. Identify the protagonist. Is it the scientist, or maybe the people trapped with the dinosaurs later? Step 2. Identify the central conflict. Dinosaurs escape. Humans must survive. Step 3. Identify the stakes. Life or death. Logline. During a preview tour of a clone dinosaur theme park, a group of visitors must survive when the creatures break free and hunt them down. Jurassic Park. Example 2. Raw idea. A man is left alone on Mars. Step 1. Protagonist. An astronaut stranded. Step 2. Goal. Survive and find a way to signal Earth. Step 3. Conflict. Hostile environment, limited resources. Step 4. Stakes his life. Logline. An astronaut stranded on Mars must rely on his ingenuity to survive long enough to signal Earth for rescue. The Martian. Notice how the raw spark becomes a narrative engine once shaped into a logline. Part 6. Practical workshop. Writing your own loglines. Now, let's bring this into practice. I want each of you to design 3 loglines from different starting points. Exercise 1. Character-driven logline. Start with a compelling character. Ask yourself, who are they? What do they want? What's in their way? Example prompt. A retired assassin. Possible logline. A retired assassin is forced back into action when her daughter is kidnapped by the crime syndicate she once betrayed. Exercise 2. Concept-driven logline. Start with a what-if scenario. What if the world suddenly stopped aging? What if memories could be stolen? Example. When people stop aging at 25, a poor young man must fight to survive in a society where time itself is currency in time. Exercise 3. Theme-driven logline. Start with a big question or theme. For example, what is the cost of ambition? Then invent a character and conflict to embody it. Possible logline. An ambitious chef sabotages his rivals in a cutthroat cooking competition, only to realize his obsession may destroy the one friendship he values most. Part 7. Polishing your logline. Once you've drafted a logline, test it with these questions. Is it under 40 words? Does it clearly identify the protagonist? Does it show the central conflict? Are the stakes clear and compelling? Does it make someone want to know more? If the answer to any of these is no, revise. Writing a great logline takes multiple drafts, just like a screenplay. Part 8. Beyond the logline. Why it matters. Think of your logline as the DNA of your screenplay. Every scene, every line of dialogue, every character choice should connect back to that central premise. If you wander too far from it, you risk writing a story that feels scattered or unfocused. In the industry, a sharp logline can open doors. Producers don't have time to read 100 full scripts, but they might read 100 loglines in a day, looking for one that sparks their interest. Yours has to stand out not with gimmicks, but with clarity and drama. Part 9. Professional tips. 1. Focus on the hook. What makes your idea unique? If your logline could describe 10 other movies, it's not distinctive enough. 2. Highlight irony. Many great loglines contain irony. A lawyer cursed to tell the truth for 24 hours. That irony makes it memorable. 3. Imply genre. Your word choice should signal whether this is a thriller, comedy, horror, or drama. 4. Practice endlessly. Professional screenwriters write dozens of loglines for every project. Don't settle for your first attempt. Part X. Final assignment. Before our next session, I want each of you to write 3 loglines. 1. One character-driven. 2. One concept-driven. 3. One theme-driven. Bring them to class, and we'll workshop them together. Remember, a strong logline is not just an academic exercise. It is your passport into the industry, and the foundation upon which your entire screenplay rests. Closing thoughts. The journey from raw idea to polished screenplay is long, winding and filled with detours, but the logline is your compass. It forces you to decide, who is my story about? What do they want? What stands in their way? Why should anyone care? Once you can answer those questions in one clean, sharp sentence, you're no longer wandering in the wilderness of vague inspiration. You're standing at the gates of story. So, sharpen your sentences, distill your sparks, and start building the fire. Because every great film, from the smallest indie drama to the biggest Hollywood blockbuster, began its life as a single logline, a single idea captured with clarity and power. Exercise 1. Character-driven logline, Rubin as the core. Focus on Rubin himself, his scars, his nightmares, his martial arts background, his moral dilemma with Anna and the diamond. Prompt for students. Write a one-sentence logline that defines Rubin not just as a man in a plot, but as a haunted, wounded protagonist. Show how his unique traits create conflict. Example starting point. Haunted by scars from childhood nightmares, a martial artist turned antiquities guard must. Students complete the sentence with a clear goal, obstacle, and stakes. Exercise 2. Concept-driven logline. What if nightmares were real? The owl woman is the supernatural concept, a nightmare figure that bleeds into reality. This is where the high-concept horror hook lives. Prompt for students. Turn the idea of Rubin's nightmares coming true into a commercial logline. Use the what-if approach. What if your private nightmares could manifest as a living enemy? Example starting point. When his childhood nightmares of a clawed hag prove terrifyingly real in a Turkish village, a scarred man must. Students finish the thought with action and stakes. Exercise 3. Theme-driven logline. The cost of love and identity. Rubin's diamond for Anna and his repressed Turkish identity provide the emotional and thematic depth. Here the question is, what is the cost of love, and how does it shape identity? Prompt for students. Write a logline that frames the story as a moral and emotional test. Don't focus on monsters or mummies first. Focus on the inner journey. Example starting point. Driven by love for his pregnant wife, a man who has forgotten his past must risk death and face his deepest fears. Students then add the external obstacle, the owl woman, the mission, or both. And that brings us to the end of today's session. We've seen how a simple spark, like Rubin's terrifying nightmare, can be shaped into a powerful logline that defines character, conflict, and stakes. Remember, the logline isn't just a sales tool. It's the heartbeat of your screenplay, the compass that keeps your story on course. Your assignment is to draft 3 loglines. 1 character-driven, 1 concept-driven, and 1 theme-driven. Next time, we'll workshop them together and see how different perspectives can completely transform the same story. If you enjoyed today's class and want to keep growing as a storyteller, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell icon. That way, you'll be notified as soon as the next lesson goes live. Keep writing, keep refining, and I'll see you in the next session.